Your soulmate can't stop smiling. Because you finally did this. Don't skip. Listen carefully. This message is for you, because something happened that completely changed the energy inside your soulmate's heart. Not a dramatic event. Not a shocking surprise. Not something the entire world would notice. Yet to them, it felt enormous. It felt meaningful. It felt unforgettable. And listen to this. For a very long time, your soulmate carried certain hopes quietly. Not the kind of hopes they shared with everyone. Not the kind of hopes they talked about openly. The kind of hopes people protect because they matter deeply. The kind of hopes people keep close to their hearts. Because your heart needs this right now, because some dreams are too important to be spoken aloud. Your soulmate carried one of those dreams. And listen to this. Life continued moving forward. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Responsibilities grew. Challenges appeared. The future remained uncertain. Everything seemed normal. Yet beneath all of that, a quiet wish remained. A wish that never completely disappeared. A wish they occasionally thought about late at night. A wish they wondered about during quiet moments. A wish connected to happiness. Because your heart needs this right now, because genuine hopes rarely disappear completely. Your soulmate was discovering that truth. And listen to this. At first, they didn't realize anything had changed. The moment seemed ordinary. Simple. Almost easy to overlook. Yet something about it stayed with them. Something about it felt different. Something about it felt important. The feeling lingered long after the moment ended. And that caught their attention. Because your heart needs this right now, because meaningful moments often announce themselves through the feelings they leave behind. Your soulmate couldn't ignore those feelings. And listen to this. The more they reflected, the more they noticed themselves smiling. Not intentionally. Not because they were trying to. The smile simply appeared. Again and again. Like their heart had recognized something before their mind fully understood it. Because your heart needs this right now, because happiness often arrives before we understand where it came from. Your soulmate was experiencing that happiness. And listen to this. At first, they tried to explain it logically. Maybe they were simply having a good day. Maybe they were feeling optimistic. Maybe something positive had improved their mood. Yet every explanation felt incomplete. Because the feeling remained. The smile remained. The warmth remained. Because your heart needs this right now, because genuine emotions tend to stay longer than temporary moods. Your soulmate knew this feeling was different. And listen to this. As they continued thinking about it, memories began appearing. Small memories. Meaningful memories. Moments that once seemed ordinary but now felt incredibly valuable. Conversations. Shared experiences. Simple interactions. Moments that carried meaning far beyond what they realized at the time. Because your heart needs this right now, because meaningful memories often reveal what our hearts value most. Your soulmate was beginning to understand what mattered. And listen to this. One realization led to another. One memory connected to another. One feeling connected to another. Slowly, a larger picture began forming. A picture built from appreciation. A picture built from gratitude. A picture built from genuine emotion. Because your heart needs this right now, because understanding often arrives one small realization at a time. Your soulmate was piecing everything together. And listen to this. For the first time in a long while, they stopped focusing entirely on what was missing. They stopped focusing on worries. They stopped focusing on uncertainty. They stopped focusing on things they couldn't control. Instead, they focused on something different. Something far more meaningful. Everything that was already good. Everything that already brought value into their life. Everything that already deserved appreciation. Because your heart needs this right now, because gratitude changes the way we see the world. Your soulmate's perspective was changing. And listen to this. As the realization deepened, another truth appeared. A truth so simple that it almost surprised them. The truth was, maybe happiness isn't always about finding something new. Maybe happiness is recognizing the value of something that already exists. The moment that thought appeared, everything felt clearer. Everything felt lighter. Everything felt brighter. Because your heart needs this right now, because appreciation often reveals blessings hidden in plain sight. Your soulmate was finally seeing those blessings. And listen to this. The smile kept returning. Morning. Afternoon. Evening. The feeling never completely disappeared. And the more they reflected, the stronger it became. Not because life had suddenly become perfect. Because they had finally slowed down enough to notice something meaningful. Something genuine. Something beautiful. Because your heart needs this right now, because beauty often exists in places we forget to look. Your soulmate had finally noticed it. And listen to this. The moment everything started changing wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It wasn't extraordinary from the outside. Yet inside their heart, it felt powerful. Powerful enough to shift their perspective. Powerful enough to renew their hope. Powerful enough to remind them how meaningful life can be. And that realization became impossible to forget. Because your heart needs this right now, because meaningful realizations often stay with us forever. Your soulmate knew this one would. And listen to this. As the day came to an end, one final thought remained. A thought they couldn't stop thinking about. A thought that explained the smile. The warmth. The happiness. The gratitude. The thought was, some moments become special not because they're perfect, but because they remind us what truly matters. The moment that realization settled into place, the smile returned once again. And this time, they understood why. Don't skip. Listen carefully. This message is for you, because after that first unexpected feeling appeared, your soulmate thought it would disappear. They assumed it was just a passing emotion. A temporary mood. A brief moment of happiness that would fade as the day continued. But it didn't. And listen to this. The more they tried to move on with their day, the more the feeling returned. While working, while resting, while thinking about completely unrelated things, the same warmth kept appearing. The same smile kept returning. The same sense of appreciation kept growing. Because your heart needs this right now, because genuine emotions rarely disappear when they are connected to something meaningful. Your soulmate was beginning to realize that meaning. And listen to this. At first, they couldn't explain it. They searched for reasons. They searched for logic. They searched for answers. Yet every explanation felt incomplete. Because the feeling wasn't coming from one specific event. It was coming from something deeper. Something that had been quietly growing for a long time. Because your heart needs this right now, because some emotions are built slowly through countless moments rather than one dramatic experience. Your soulmate was beginning to see those moments clearly. And listen to this. As they reflected, memories began appearing one after another. Not necessarily the biggest memories. Not necessarily the most exciting memories. The meaningful memories. The memories connected to genuine feelings. The memories connected to appreciation. The memories connected to moments that made life feel brighter. Because your heart needs this right now, because the heart often remembers what truly matters long before the mind understands why. Your soulmate's heart remembered. And listen to this. One memory stood out. Not because it was extraordinary. Because of how it made them feel. The feeling was comfort. A sense of ease. A sense of understanding. A sense that certain moments carry value far beyond what we realize at the time. Because your heart needs this right now, because meaningful moments often reveal their importance long after they happen. Your soulmate was finally seeing that importance. And listen to this. The more they reflected, the more another realization appeared. The happiest memories weren't necessarily connected to perfect circumstances. They weren't connected to flawless outcomes. They weren't connected to achieving every goal. Instead, they were connected to authenticity. Connection. Appreciation. The simple experiences that make life feel meaningful. Because your heart needs this right now, because meaning creates happiness in ways success alone never can. Your soulmate was discovering that happiness. And listen to this. As the realization grew stronger, they noticed something unusual. The smile wasn't forced. It wasn't intentional. It appeared naturally. Every time they thought about the lesson they were learning. Every time they thought about gratitude. Every time they thought about how much beauty can exist inside ordinary moments. Because your heart needs this right now, because genuine gratitude often expresses itself through simple joy. Your soulmate was feeling that joy. And listen to this. For a long time, they believed happiness required something extraordinary. A breakthrough. A perfect opportunity. A major achievement. A dramatic change. Yet now they understood something completely different. Sometimes happiness arrives when we stop chasing it and start appreciating what already exists. Because your heart needs this right now, because appreciation often reveals happiness that was there all along. Your soulmate was finally seeing it. And listen to this. The realization became impossible to ignore. Life wasn't lacking meaningful moments. Life wasn't lacking reasons to smile. Life wasn't lacking beauty. They had simply become so busy looking ahead that they forgot to notice what was already around them. Because your heart needs this right now, because awareness transforms the way we experience everyday life. Your soulmate's awareness was growing stronger. And listen to this. As evening approached, another truth appeared. A truth that immediately touched their heart. The people and experiences that bring the most happiness are often the ones we accidentally take for granted. Not because they are unimportant. Because they become familiar. Because they become part of our daily lives. Because we assume they will always be there. Because your heart needs this right now, because appreciation becomes more powerful when we recognize value before it's gone. Your soulmate was learning that lesson. And listen to this. The more they reflected, the brighter everything seemed. The memories felt richer. The lessons felt clearer. The future felt more hopeful. Not because the world had changed. Because their perspective had changed. And perspective changes everything. Because your heart needs this right now, because one meaningful realization can transform the way we see our entire journey. Your soulmate was experiencing that transformation. And listen to this. The reason they couldn't stop smiling was finally becoming clear. It wasn't excitement. It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was gratitude. A deep appreciation for meaningful moments. A deep appreciation for meaningful people. A deep appreciation for the beauty hidden inside ordinary life. Because your heart needs this right now, because gratitude creates a kind of happiness that feels peaceful, lasting, and real. Your soulmate was feeling that happiness. And listen to this. Before the night ended, one final realization remained. A realization they knew they would remember for a very long time. The realization was: the things that make life beautiful are often the things we almost overlook. The moment those words settled into their heart, the smile returned once again. And this time, it stayed. Because they finally understood why. Don't skip. Listen carefully. This message is for you, because after all the memories, after all the unexpected smiles, after all the moments of reflection, your soulmate finally reached a realization they could no longer ignore. A realization that had been quietly growing inside their heart for a very long time. And listen to this. For days, they had been wondering why they felt different. Why certain memories suddenly felt brighter. Why certain thoughts seemed more meaningful. Why happiness kept appearing when they least expected it. At first, they searched for complicated answers. But the truth turned out to be surprisingly simple. Because your heart needs this right now, because the most powerful truths are often the simplest ones. Your soulmate was about to discover one. And listen to this. As they reflected on everything, they noticed a pattern. The moments that made them smile weren't necessarily the biggest moments. They weren't dramatic. They weren't perfect. They weren't extraordinary. They were genuine. Real conversations. Real emotions. Real experiences. Real appreciation. Because your heart needs this right now, because authenticity creates memories that last far longer than perfection ever could. Your soulmate was beginning to understand that. And listen to this. The more they reflected, the clearer everything became. For a long time, they had been searching for happiness somewhere in the future. They thought happiness would arrive when certain goals were achieved, when certain problems were solved, when life finally became easier. Yet something unexpected happened. They discovered happiness hiding inside moments that had already happened. Because your heart needs this right now, because sometimes happiness isn't found in what we're waiting for, it's found in what we've already been given. Your soulmate was finally seeing that. And listen to this. One memory led to another. One lesson connected to another. One realization opened the door to another. And suddenly, everything seemed connected. The smiles. The gratitude. The appreciation. The warmth they kept feeling. It all came from the same source. A renewed awareness of what truly matters. Because your heart needs this right now, because awareness changes the way we experience life. Your soulmate's awareness was growing stronger. And listen to this. As they looked back, they realized something important. Many of the things they valued most had been present all along. Yet they hadn't always noticed them. Not because they weren't important. Because life moves fast. Because responsibilities demand attention. Because people sometimes become so focused on what comes next that they forget to appreciate what already exists. Because your heart needs this right now, because appreciation often begins the moment we slow down and truly see. Your soulmate was finally seeing. And listen to this. The realization became emotional. Not in a sad way. In a beautiful way. A healing way. A grateful way. Because suddenly they understood that life contained far more goodness than they had been allowing themselves to recognize. The kindness. The memories. The meaningful moments. The connections. The lessons. All of it mattered. Because your heart needs this right now, because gratitude reveals value that routine often hides. Your soulmate was discovering that value. And listen to this. For the first time in a long while, they stopped measuring life only by achievements. They stopped asking, "How much more do I need?" And started asking, "How much do I already have?" That single question changed everything. Because your heart needs this right now, because gratitude transforms the way we see our lives. Your soulmate was experiencing that transformation. And listen to this. The happiness they felt wasn't temporary excitement. It wasn't a brief emotional high. It was something deeper. Something calmer. Something more lasting. A feeling of appreciation. A feeling of contentment. A feeling of understanding. Because your heart needs this right now, because genuine happiness often grows from gratitude rather than excitement. Your soulmate was discovering that happiness. And listen to this. Then came the truth they finally admitted to themselves. The truth that connected every smile. Every memory. Every realization. Every emotion. The truth was, I have more reasons to be grateful than I ever realized. The moment those words settled into their heart, everything made sense. The smiles made sense. The warmth made sense. The happiness made sense. Because your heart needs this right now, because understanding creates peace. Your soulmate had finally found that peace. And listen to this. As the evening continued, they noticed something remarkable. The more grateful they became, the happier they felt. The happier they felt, the more reasons they found to appreciate life. And the cycle continued. Growing stronger. Growing brighter. Growing more meaningful. Because your heart needs this right now, because gratitude and happiness often strengthen one another. Your soulmate was experiencing both. And listen to this. Before the night ended, one final realization remained. A realization they knew they would carry with them for a very long time. The realization was, the things that bring the greatest joy are often the things we almost overlook. The people. The memories. The lessons. The kindness. The meaningful moments. The simple experiences that quietly become priceless. The moment they understood that truth, everything started making sense. And their smile became impossible to hide. Don't skip. Listen carefully. This message is for you, because after every reflection, after every memory that unexpectedly returned, after every lesson they quietly learned, after every smile that appeared for no apparent reason, your soulmate finally understood what had been happening inside their heart all along. And listen to this. For a while, they believed the happiness would fade. They believed it was temporary. They believed it was simply one good day. One positive mood. One emotional moment that would eventually pass. Yet the feeling stayed. Day after day. Moment after moment. The smile continued returning. And the more it returned, the more curious they became. Because your heart needs this right now, because genuine happiness often leaves clues before it reveals its true source. Your soulmate was following those clues. And listen to this. The deeper they reflected, the clearer everything became. The smile wasn't connected to luck. It wasn't connected to success. It wasn't connected to getting everything they wanted. Instead, it came from something much deeper. Something more meaningful. Something they had overlooked for far too long. Appreciation. Real appreciation. Because your heart needs this right now, because gratitude has the power to create joy where we least expect it. Your soulmate was discovering that joy. And listen to this. As they thought about everything that had happened recently, they noticed a remarkable pattern. The moments that made them happiest were not the moments they planned. They weren't the moments they chased. They weren't the moments they worked hardest to create. Instead, they were the moments that arrived naturally. The moments filled with sincerity. The moments filled with meaning. The moments filled with genuine emotion. Because your heart needs this right now, because some of life's greatest gifts cannot be forced. Your soulmate was finally recognizing those gifts. And listen to this. For years, they believed happiness lived somewhere in the future. Somewhere beyond the next achievement. Somewhere beyond the next goal. Somewhere beyond the next milestone. Yet now they understood something completely different. The happiness they were searching for had been appearing in small ways all along. Inside conversations. Inside memories. Inside appreciation. Inside meaningful experiences. Because your heart needs this right now, because happiness often hides inside the things we already have. Your soulmate was finally seeing it. And listen to this. The realization felt powerful. Not because it was complicated. Because it was true. The simplest truths often carry the greatest power. And the truth was this. Life becomes richer when we stop rushing through it. Life becomes brighter when we appreciate it. Life becomes more meaningful when we notice what truly matters. Because your heart needs this right now, because awareness transforms ordinary days into extraordinary memories. Your soulmate had become aware. And listen to this. As the realization settled deeper into their heart, another truth appeared. A truth that immediately made them smile again. The people who bring us joy often have no idea how much they matter. The people who improve our lives often underestimate their impact. The people who create meaningful moments often never realize how memorable those moments become. Because your heart needs this right now, because meaningful influence is often invisible. Your soulmate was finally noticing that influence. And listen to this. The more they reflected, the more grateful they became. Grateful for lessons. Grateful for memories. Grateful for growth. Grateful for every experience that helped shape their journey. And with every new feeling of gratitude, the smile returned. Again. And again. And again. Because your heart needs this right now, because gratitude and happiness naturally grow together. Your soulmate was experiencing both. And listen to this. Then came the final realization. The realization that connected every emotion together. The realization that explained every smile. The realization that changed everything. The realization was: the most meaningful parts of life are often the parts we almost overlook. The people. The kindness. The conversations. The understanding. The simple moments that quietly become priceless memories. The moment that truth settled into their heart, everything became clear. Because your heart needs this right now, because clarity often arrives when we finally stop and appreciate what has always been there. Your soulmate had finally found that clarity. And listen to this. The thing you finally did wasn't one dramatic action. It wasn't one perfect moment. It wasn't one extraordinary event. It was something much deeper. You reminded them to appreciate. You reminded them to notice. You reminded them to slow down long enough to recognize the beauty already present in their life. And that realization changed everything. Because your heart needs this right now, because appreciation has the power to transform the way we experience the world. Your soulmate's world suddenly felt brighter. And listen to this. For the first time in a very long while, they felt completely present. Not trapped in the past. Not worried about tomorrow. Simply grateful for today. Simply grateful for meaningful experiences. Simply grateful for the things that truly matter. Because your heart needs this right now, because peace often begins with gratitude. Your soulmate was finally feeling that peace. And listen to this. As the night came to an end, one final thought remained. A thought they knew they would carry with them forever. The thought was, the things that touch our hearts most deeply are rarely the loudest things in our lives. They are the quiet moments. The genuine moments. The meaningful moments. The moments we choose to appreciate. The moment they understood that truth, the smile returned one final time. And this time, it stayed.